Hey y'all, how's it going? So this is currently my presentation and it is called Walk a Day in Alzheimer's Shoes, and it's stage 7 for the 7 stages that Alzheimer patients encounter. So kind of to begin with, my name's Michelle Coso and I'm currently a senior over at Western Illinois University. If it matters, I'm a 5th year senior, so go me. Another thing is I'm currently a Harbor Light Hospice social work intern, and I am in the McDonough area. So kind of to begin with, I want to say a few thank yous. The first thank you that I want to send out is I want to thank every single one of you for making this agency feel like home. Whether it was answering 500 of my questions and maybe even answering it more than once, I really appreciate it. Or whether it was simple things like saying, hey, your shoes look good today. The little things like that made difficult days better. So I want to thank you for that. Additionally, I want to thank all of our staff, our CNAs, our nurses, our coordinators, everyone, for working during a time that's very difficult. Personally, I may not understand it because I have the luxury of being in my home, doing my internship, but many of you are out there on the front line and you're working with patients and taking care of your family, taking care of yourself, and things are very stressful. So I do want you to know that I appreciate you, and I know our staff appreciates you all as well. So I just want to say thank you, recognize you a little. Another thing is we're going to go ahead and transition kind of into this whole project. So a little bit about this assignment is that I wanted people to have a better understanding of what it feels like being in the shoes of an Alzheimer's patient. So something a little personal to me is that I joined Harbor Light actually my sophomore year of college, and coming into it, I had not a clue what was going on. I kind of walked into a battlefield and wasn't ready. And so for me, the experience I've learned over the years had helped me gradually and tremendously. Whether it is not approaching a patient from behind, approaching them from their shoulder and saying, oh, hey, Jane Doe, how's it going today? Or even asking questions like, how's your day? Did you eat breakfast? What are you doing today? Like things along that spectrum, you don't know it unless you're exposed to it. But given that being said, you may work with patients, but sometimes taking a break and taking a second to reflect on what your patients are experiencing makes your work a little bit easier to understand. I know for me personally, it's helped me a lot, and I hope that it helps you as well. So kind of to begin with, what I'm going to do is I'm trying to make everything virtually accommodating, so bear with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover 3 areas of senses and sensories. It's going to be your hearing, your vision, and using your senses in your hands. So to begin with, many patients with their vision and their hearing, they have impairments to it. So things can be overwhelming. It may be difficult to see, difficult to understand what's going on. Same thing with your hands when it comes to conducting daily tasks like brushing your hair or drinking coffee. The feeling in your fingers may not feel like they used to 15 or 10 years ago. And many patients do experience grief. And when I say grief, it's more of a grievance of what they used to be able to do, whether it's hearing birds chirping or being able to see down the hallway or even being able to pick up a cup of coffee and brush their hair like they used to. As people that are working in healthcare, we need to be understanding of our patients' grief. So to begin with, we're going to start with our hearing portion. We're going to try to make this as interactive as possible. I know I can't hear your responses, but we are going to make this work. So I'm going to go ahead and play a sound. And the goal of this first activity is I want you to shut your eyes in 3 seconds. You're going to shut your eyes and I want you to listen to the sounds. But at the same token, I'm going to say I'll ask you 2 questions. And I want you to have the answer to those 2 questions that I ask you when the sound is playing. I'm going to have you go ahead and shut your eyes in 3, 2, and 1. Would you like to go to the bathroom? How are you feeling today? Okay, so if you heard my questions, I had asked, would you like to go to the bathroom, and how are you feeling today? If you heard that, you got some really good ears. If you're someone that's like me, it can be very overwhelming. So what I would like you to do is just take a brief second and just reflect on how that may have made you feel, hearing all these sounds going on and someone asking you something. So just take a second, reflect on how that made you feel in that point in time. Okay, so can't really hear your answers, but I bet they're really good. So I'll reflect on my answers. Personally, for me, I do suffer from hearing loss, and it's pretty bad. However, it is difficult for me as well. So I can really relate to Alzheimer's patients in the sense that when you have so many sounds going on and someone's talking to you, it is very difficult to concentrate on what's going on. So relating this to a hospice patient, you may have a patient sitting in a common area and they have a game of bingo going on. So they may hear what you're saying, but there's so many sounds going on around them that it's difficult for them to process what you're saying. I know for me personally, sometimes when you ask someone to repeat what they're saying, sometimes it makes you feel a little bit bad about yourself. And emotionally, that can make patients feel maybe embarrassed or nervous to ask you. And sometimes it's okay to say the question again, or even say, hey, instead of saying, would you like to go to the bathroom? You could say, hey, would you mind if we go to, use the restrooms real quick? It's all about rephrasing and adapting it to their level of comfort. So that's the portion of our hearing. I know we got a little sentimental and emotional within conversation, but it's okay. Our next portion is going to be a little tricky, so bear with me. The next portion is going to be our vision. So many patients that are in hospice care, they have distorted vision. And if you kind of reflect on your vision right now, some of you may have really good vision. Some of you, like me, may have poor vision and can't see a street sign in front of you. So just reflect on how you have your experience of your vision right now, and imagine yourself being in the predicament of your vision becoming distorted. And just reflect on how that would make you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, and maybe even spiritually if you'd like. Okay, so, but your answers are great again. I wish I could hear them. Maybe we can even write our responses down on the sheet you guys submit at the end of this. So for me personally, I know that when I put myself in those shoes, I know that I would maybe go more of in a panic, or I would feel very nervous and anxious not being able to be where I was years ago. It would make me kind of question, like, what's wrong with me, what's going on, cause a lot of anxiety and feeling of overwhelmness. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try to make this possible. I'm going to put these goggles up, and maybe I'll hold some finger in the air, maybe it's 4 fingers, 5, 2, 3, maybe I'll even do 3, or I don't know, maybe 2. I'll try something different, and we'll see if you guys can figure out how many fingers I'm holding. At the same token, while we're figuring out how many fingers I'm holding in this hand, with these goggles on, I'm going to go ahead and test you. We're going to make this a little tricky because I believe in you. I'm going to go ahead and place the sound on at the same time. And so while you're trying to guess how many fingers I'm holding, I want you to have the answer to the question that I'm playing with the audio. So we're going to give it a try, and let's see how it works. So let's see if we can get this working. Okay, I think we got it. That's pretty good, I think. We're going to get the audio started, so get ready. We're going to start, and you do not have to have your eyes shut in this one. If you could please use your vision within this. you answered the number 2, and if you answered, are you hungry? Yes or no, you had gotten that correct. However, if you didn't, there's nothing wrong with that. So kind of to reflect, I want you to take a second and think of how this experience made you feel physically. And maybe you can even write it down, jot it down. I'd love to hear some feedback. So we're going to go ahead and move to our next portion. This portion is going to be very difficult to do, given virtual. So we'll make it entertaining, and you can go ahead and watch me struggle, because I know it's going to be difficult. So what I had done is I had taken a shoe, as you can see, it's a standard shoe. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to tie this lace. Tried it earlier and it's not fun. It's not easy, but I'm going to go ahead and try it again. And we'll see how this goes. So while I'm putting these on, so basically what I'm doing with these gloves right now is, as I had stated earlier in the presentation, it's going to distort your senses in your hand and make things difficult, such as your simple daily tasks, such as tying your shoes. So I've got my little goggles on. I know I may look really goofy right now, but it's okay. Oh gosh. Okay, so we have our shoe right here. Move a little closer. Okay, I hope you guys can see this because I can't. So I have my laces, and we gotta put our laces in a knot. Okay, got it in a knot. Oh no. And yeah, you may notice that I did not put the audio on, but that's okay. Okay. Ah! So as we could see, I'm not really able to tie my laces right now. And you know what? That's okay. But that goes along to represent how sometimes doing things that patients may be familiar with and comfortable with, they may lose that over time, and that may be very difficult for them. And our job as healthcare providers, healthcare staff, is to make it as comfortable as it is for our patients. So whether it's coming up with accommodations like I did with this virtual presentation, we can make accommodations for our patients to accommodate their daily fulfillment of what they like to do. I know I have a patient that loves drinking coffee, and if drinking coffee became hard for the patient to lift the cup and drink, to accommodate to the needs of the enjoyment of drinking coffee, put a straw and still be able to enjoy the coffee. Let's see what I could think of. Another patient enjoys building blocks, and say building those blocks became hard for the patient with their hands. Another way that we can accommodate those needs is maybe we could build the blocks and have the patient knock them down. That's knocking things down and destroying them. Fun as a kid, fun as an adult. It's all about sculpting to your patient's level of care and their accommodations of what they need. So I really appreciate everyone for participating in this presentation and working with me. I try to make it as fun as possible. If you can go ahead when you're done and fill out my little evaluation sheet and grade me and give me feedback that I can go ahead and improve as I up out of college and into the reality of working as a potential social worker, and help me out with maybe making adjustments or some great feedback. So again, I really appreciate you for taking your time, and have a great day, and stay safe, keep your family safe, and wash those hands. So thank you.